Honestly, I feel like the policies and procedure for like taking the test were the things that impacted me the most. Because like overall, in law school, we've all gone to law school right here, and it's very standard. You can't have any watches on you, no smart glasses. It's the same software we use, Exemplify. I don't know if you guys used it back in the day. Lockdown browser.
Back in the day.
I mean, you guys.
Jesus.
I mean, you guys graduated in 2018.
I didn't graduate.
Oh,
in
Michael did. Whatever. That's almost what's like 9 years ago.
That was 2020.
No, that's like 7 years. But with that being said, it don't matter. Math. I'm not a mathematician, so.
Fucking over here shooting shots at me.
We're catching strays for literally. I don't think I've added
fuck.
anything yet.
Listen, I said what I said.
Yes, we used Exemplify.
All right,
We
so
did use computers. We did not use typewriters.
well, you have to pay 125 to use a computer. Now you have to handwrite it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Only Lawsuits podcast. Today, we have our returning team member, somebody that we've missed
Crying
out
already.
on a little, for a little while now because he's been studying for the bar, Mr. Mario. How you doing, Mario?
Glad to be back, fellas. Doing, I think, well.
Well, yeah, before we delve into some of like these other subjects that we want to discuss, tell us a little bit about the bar experience.
Well, I was taking it once. I never want to take it again. It was not fun. I remember it was like, 2.5 months that I was out. It was not fun. It was painful. I think in 2.5 months, I took 4 days off. I know they recommended you take like weekly days off, like Sundays and whatnot. Well, I didn't take Sundays off. I had to move my desk to a window because my dogs were distracting me. I gave up eating lunch because it was making me too sleepy. Let's see what else. I definitely now, after taking it, I do understand why they told you to take breaks, because after I took 2 days off, I felt myself being able to focus better. But it's in my nature to push through, and if I think I'm struggling, I think if I just push through, I'll get better at it. No, you need to take time off. And I'm not saying take like 2-3 days off a week, but I'm saying like do something that relaxes you. Here's what I thought. I thought if I go to the gym, look at my physique, okay?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice physique.
Listen, does this
Fantastic
physique
physique.
look like I go to the gym more than once a month? All right? It does not. So here's what I thought. I'm like, all right, I'm going to wake up nice and early, go to the gym. Let me tell you something. Running 2.5 miles every morning, benching, did not like relax me at all. Like it made me like stress, but with energy.
That's not the time to start exercising.
Listen, I was
like,
running.
Oh, I'm gonna start studying for the bar. Let me start exercising now.
I was running
That's
like a
not the
horse
time.
on that treadmill. I was like, I don't bench. Look at me. Like these twig arms have never benched before, and I thought of maybe if I do that for the bar, it would help me like concentrate. In hindsight, I should have just gone fishing like I usually do to relax, because I already knew like that's the way I like decompress. Yeah, going to the gym just made me athletically angry.
well, so look, all of
Or
us
stress.
all of us here have had an experience in dealing with the bar, right?
Mhm.
Some of us to get our licensing, and then some of us dealing with someone that's attempting to get their license.
Circumstantial.
Well, technically, he's dealt
Yes.
with all of us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Getting
true.
our
Well, no,
license.
Josh came along after I was barred, so
Okay.
he didn't experience my madness. But yeah, he's,
I didn't experience his madness, but the one time I did talk to him, the year that he graduated, I was like, "How you doing?" Because I was still living in New York at the time, and we were catching up, and I was like, "Yeah, how have you been?" And the first thing he said to me is, "I've been fucking miserable."
Well, so Mario kind of highlighted, and I mean, we could all talk about our bar experience. The bar is, during COVID time, a lot of people that were in law school, they were complaining about, you should just let us become lawyers. We shouldn't have to take the bar. The whole 6-foot shit and Fauci, which is under congressional testimony right now, and he's taking the fifth on everything. But with that being said, when I heard those people in law school say that shit kind of got under my skin, because I do think the bar is a rite of passage, right? Like, passing the bar doesn't make you a good lawyer, and taking the bar doesn't make you a good lawyer, but it's still something I think everyone should have to do to become a lawyer, right? I think I'll be the first to say undergrad was bullshit to me. Like, I didn't take undergrad, passed undergrad, no problem. Like, literally it was bullshit to me. I did it in my sleep. Law school, to a certain extent, I also didn't push as hard as I could, right? I'm more of a C's get degrees type guy. I didn't get only C's. I was, I got A's, B's, and C's, but, I also got a D or two. But needless to say, like, I always try to maximize my time when I'm doing stuff, right? So I thought it would be hilarious the first round to like not study as hard as everyone else was for the bar. And let me tell you, it was the most humbling experience to not pass the bar the first time by like half a point. It, in retrospect, I look at it with like, I only failed by half a point, but I didn't even put, half the time everyone else did. But I also felt like a fucking idiot for the next 6 months when I was grinding away, going through what Mario went through for 2.5 months. So it's like, I didn't do myself any justice by not taking it as serious, right? But with that being said, I obviously passed the second time around because I did exactly what Mario did. And I even went a step further. I studied from 7 a.m. to like 7 p.m. on a strict regimen, cut everyone out of my life.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It takes you to a real dark
I
place.
had to I would leave my phone in the car. I know you had called me, and I would call you back like at 7 or 8. So I would like I said, I would go to the gym in the morning, talk to my mom and dad in the morning. Those were the only people I usually talk to in the morning. Leave my phone in the truck, right? Just because I wanted to prevent any distraction. I get distracted, like you guys know, very easily, right? And with that being said, I'm like, well, the phone's going to be a distraction. Gone. The dogs were going to be a distraction. I went into another room. I had too much space in one room. So I went into the smaller corner of the room. Like, you have to fine tune yourself. If not, dude, because I noticed that I only have a designated amount of time, right? And if I don't make good use of the time, I'm going to do all of this all over again.
Yeah.
With that being said, I could just fail and have to do it all over again. But I told myself, if you fail, you fail. It's life. But if you put a good shot in it, you give yourself the best opportunity possible.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't cried much as an adult male, but I'll tell you what, when I failed, I cried. Ultimately it was a humbling experience, right? I think it made me a better lawyer now. So, I respect the bar, and I think the bar is like a very, very tough.
And they're very strict. Like, I don't know when you
tell it. So for people that haven't taken the bar, what was the craziest thing that you experienced during the bar that kind of stuck out to you when it came to test taking?
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like the policies and procedure for like taking the test were the things that impacted me the most. Because like overall, in law school, we've all gone to law school right here, and it's very standard. You can't have any watches on you, no smart glasses. It's the same software we use, Exemplify. I don't know if you guys used it back in the day. Lockdown browser.
Back in the day.
I mean, you guys.
Jesus.
I mean, you guys graduated in 2018.
I didn't graduate.
Oh, Michael did. Whatever. That's almost, what's like 9 years ago?
It was 2020.
No, that's like 7 years.
Bro.
But with that being said, it don't matter. Math, I'm not a mathematician, so.
It's fucking over here shooting shots at me for no reason.
We're catching strays for literally. I don't think I've added
fuck.
anything yet.
Listen, I said what I said.
Yes, we used Exemplify.
All right,
We
so
did use computers. We did not use typewriters.
well, you have to pay $125 to use a computer. Now you have to handwrite it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a good point, right?
That's crazy. The fact that you have to pay extra to use a computer.
Even
If
if you're
I had-
taking MBE, you have to pay the laptop fee because you can't bifurcate
Mm-hmm.
until you've taken Florida.
She's correct. Yeah. So the thing that really caught my attention the most when taking the bar was, they pat you down every time you leave. If you have to go to the bathroom, you get escorted to the bathroom. They're serious, dude. You got to get fingerprinted. Every time you do the, each portion. So just that, it's like I've never taken a test nowhere near as
Crazy, right?
as crazy as that.
What a-
People there where you can, I don't know, you can drop a person that has no clue what the bar is, right? Somebody that's just wandered into the Tampa Convention Center by mistake, right? And they can feel the pressure the people are feeding it.
What
Like
about-
nobody.
What about you, Farah? What do you
was
think
crazy.
was the most like intense thing for the bar?
About taking it or prepping for it?
Taking it, because like the
I think-
experience of taking the bar is an experience.
It
Like,
Yeah.
is.
I think I think what he's saying, other people's stress, because when you're there, there's people crying, there's people
Throwing
throwing
up.
up. There's like, and like, so I didn't cry when I failed. I cried when I passed.
Yeah.
Like I took it hard, but I didn't take it like it was like a failure of myself. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get back up and do it again, until I did it. And so I cried when I passed because I was like, it was more of a relief.
Were
But
you at work when you found out too?
Yeah.
yeah, I literally just
In the
pulled
car, yeah.
and I knew everyone was gonna ask me, and I wanted to check it before I got in, just in case if I needed to turn back around and be like, yeah, I'm not coming in
I'm
today.
feeling sick today.
And then I remember I walked in and I just whispered to Gigi, I was like, I passed. And she was like, what? And I was like, I passed.
That was a great day, actually. That was a great
and then
day.
the next day, I fucking sent her into like a fucking.
Yeah.
No, that same
That
day,
same
I
day.
was
Yeah.
sending emails to like opposing counsel who's been doing this for like 50 years.
I remember that.
Who were like questioning me. And I was just like, here's my oath, you asshole. Here
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
that was a flex, dude. That was a
Yeah.
flex.
And he was like,
But-
"Oh, I'm so sorry," and he like took it right back. But anyways, yeah, the pressure that everyone else is experiencing, because even if you're trying to like regulate yourself, you feel that from everyone.
I think
So-
I honestly think the hardest thing, right, is not the material. The material is hard. I'm just saying the consistency you need to have
yeah.
every day, just nonstop every day, and staying like positive.
Stamina.
Yeah, it's the staying positive, because one thing that excuse me, that caught my attention was, dude, there's exams that you take like that you do like 65, 70, 75, 80, and then a week later you do one and it's like you're in a 60, you're in a high 50s, and you're like, how did I study more yet perform less?
Yeah.
That's when I realized I need to take a break, because although I was reading, understanding, I was just doing things just to do them.
Yeah.
So I
So-
started doing less, but performing better, because I was
Retention.
exact. I was
So,
taking
Josh,
care. Yeah.
You get it from you got the experience from a different perspective than us, because we were obviously test takers. From your perspective as being with your significant other taking the test, what was your experience in how Shiana took the test?
The three of you described it perfectly, in the sense that it's a lot of mental stress. It's definitely a marathon. Me having gone to school, and having had to take tests, I can empathize with studying, but I'm not in the shoes of of you three and Shiana, where you have dedicated 4 to 5 years to law school, graduated with this law school degree, but are still not able to practice law until you take this bar exam. And I think a lot of times, and that's what I've just seen firsthand amongst like the social circle, is that there's no fulfillment in just the law degree. A lot of people in law place a huge a huge weight on actually passing the bar exam to be an attorney. I think that's what everything builds toward. So with Shiana specifically, you know, I'm very, very proud of her. You know, because she passed the first half, on her first try, and now she's been trying to pass the second half, and I believe this is her third try to pass the second portion, but she's never gotten, you know, in my eyes, like, I always feel bad because yes, you know, she has been able to study, but she's working full time. You know, she's the mother, you know, she's a mother to, you know, our two, you know, kids, trying to make time to take care of them. And me as her partner, you know, I am, you know, trying to support her in any way that I can, you know, picking them up, you know, cooking them dinner, you know, spending as much quality time as I can with them outside of my own responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
Working. But, you know, it's also with her, she's studying, and Mario also touched upon it. It's like it's almost like FOMO. It's like the fear of missing out too, right? Because like there is all of like these other things going on that she can't do, that she has to put by the wayside. And so it's like the fact that she has to balance this job, and then on top of the job also making time to study.
That's hard because that's one thing why I really tried to, that's why I didn't work, because imagine going home after working, even if you do half a day, and then having to study for the bar. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
people who have to do it. I mean, sometimes you don't have an option. Like, I really commend them. Like, people who have families, who have other things.
That's
even
hard.
in law school, I used to be like, obviously, I was just single and just a student, and there were people like you know, like women with children, like, you know, men who had families and stuff to support, and they were having to put it all. But like, as you know, we all know, and I tell my students, because I tutor for the bar now, that like, if you set aside that time, yes, it sucks because you're missing out on a lot of things, but it's like 2-3 months of doing that. And then if you dedicate that time, hopefully you never have to do it again.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, then it could be, I mean, it could be years. It was for me.
Yeah.
And Mike touched upon it, and that's one thing that I'll also say is that when she took it, you know, when she's taken it like the past few times, that second portion, I think she missed out on it by like 2 points.
Yeah.
Like 2 points or 3 points or something like that. So when it cuts it that close to, it fucks with you mentally, because then, you know, it's dealing with the aftermath of like, should I, you know, why couldn't I have made more time to study? Why did I miss out, you know, on this question? You know, like all of like these different things start to go through your head. So it is interesting, man. And I mean, to see the stress that it's put, you know, each of you guys under, and especially living with it in my household, I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot.
No, but you all made a good point too, that like, okay, even a couple of points, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I didn't put in the work, I didn't put in the time. It could just be
You didn't write your name.
that's happened to people.
Yeah.
Or if you did write your name on the essays, like, you get disqualified because they have to be graded anonymously. So I have to tell people that too.
Yeah.
But the other thing that you mentioned was that, like, you know, it could just be those couple of questions, and it's not like, okay, I can, with the same information I have today, take it again like next month. You have to wait 6 months.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to like let it go, wait for the results for 2 months, and then basically start over.
And it's not just that, it's paying the test again, paying your bar prep program,
Paying for the hotels.
paying
Yes.
just sitting for the bar exam.
I mean, taking time off.
Just sitting for one test. Think about it, right? So I had to get Airbnb because I had the dogs. Couldn't stay at the hotel right across the street. So that the bar exam, the
Application
bar
fee.
prep, it was, all in all, it's like easy $5,000.
And
Easy.
Tampa jacks up the prices too, knowing
they
that the
price
bar is
gouge.
coming at the time.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? Easy $5,000 every time you want to take that test. Just
I
the
think
bar
it's
prep
way
program.
more than that, because bar prep programs alone are like
34, yeah.
3,000.
Well, I mean, look, here's a good
That's
thing though.
insane.
If you take it, you pass it, you know, you can be like me And while Mario was taking it, I was scuba diving for lobsters. So, that'll transition us.
while I was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, while we were at the office.
So,
mind you, he called me.
No, Josh wouldn't. Josh wasn't allowed to come.
I wasn't allowed to come.
Because Gianna was taking
Because
the
Gianna
bar.
was taking the bar.
Oh.
Anytime he would invite me out on the boat with the kids, she's like, you can't go. And I'm like, why? She's like, because
We
I'm going to have
suffer.
FOMO. And I'm like, oh, fine.
But look, transitioning over to the next topic, there's a reason why I bring that up. And mini season, right? Mini season, you guys talked about it. I was obviously not here during the last episode. You guys did a great job holding down the fort and moving on without me. But, like everyone acknowledged, or like Adi pointed out, I was the only person to catch lobster on the first day. But it was a good mini season.
How many did you guys catch over the total of the 5 days you were out there?
So we only were able to lobster for 2 days. Your mini season's a 2-day season in
28 and
Florida.
29.
Yeah. Well, it's the last, I think,
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday of July. And then regular lobster season opens
Like a week
in
after.
the next week. So it's opening the 6th of, I think tomorrow or something. But basically, that the crazy thing is, people think, oh, it's just you're able to go fishing early for 2 days, right? Why is this, dude? Mini season is it's a nightmare in Florida, right? So a lot of people go down to the Keys, South Florida, and spiny lobster. They're small little lobsters. They're not like the main lobsters that have the claws. So you can grab. It's a cool experience to grab them, and I know we'll probably end up going in another week or so again. But the crazy thing is it's so popular with, Florida fishermen.
Yeah, it's like tradition.
Florida. Like it's something you take the kids to, your family to, like people plan their entire vacations around mini season, right? So kind of like the bar in Tampa, price gouging, everything in South Florida gets price gouged. You have scuba shops. The scuba shop that we went to,
The marinas.
they said that they were running their compressor for 24 hours straight, filling air on tanks because it's that busy, right? So, but with that busyness becomes remember we talked about red snapper season and how crazy it is in the water. People get fucking crazy down there, right? And, people will literally try to harm one another over fucking lobster.
And or I remember one time we went lobstering down in Islamorada, right? And I think we were like 10, 12 feet. And it was with my cousin and I, and I had gone down and I hear something. No, it wasn't my cousin, it was my buddy Adrian. And I heard like a humming. I see something. It caught my attention. So I was down there poking a hole trying to get a lobster out. All I hear is a humming. I will never forget this. I wasn't that deep. It was like 10, 12 feet feet of water. All I hear is a humming. And then I look and I see like something like drive over me or like near me. And I'm like, there's no way that was a boat. And then I come up for air and I just hear my friend honking at them from the boat and like waving. And the guy had like gone by me. We had the flag. We had the boat. We had somebody in the boat screaming at. That's why mini season, it's fun, but it's a gamble because
well, and that's the
crazy.
thing, right? People it's like they lose their mind, right? And there's a lot of rules. Like Florida is very clear on the rules that you got to follow when you're doing this. When you're diving, you got to have a dive flag up, like Mario talked about. If you're away from the boat, normally you're supposed to have like a flag in the water to mark where you are.
Yep.
So but a lot of people don't. The big problem I see in Florida is there's a lot of new boaters on the water, and they don't know the rules.
Yep.
Like you're supposed to stay a certain amount of distance away from a boat with a dive flag, right?
And there's municipal codes too. Like in the Keys, you can't just dive off the bank. You have to go a certain distance off the bank.
Yeah.
I don't remember what's the distance right now, but because I know people have gotten, unfortunately in trouble because they think, it's lobster season, everything's open. I'll just literally go off the edge of like a pier or something and lobster.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to go a certain distance from the water. Which is
most recently there was a news
crazy.
article, and I'd like to get obviously me and Mario are familiar with this, but you guys, you've never been lobstering, right, Josh?
No.
You, I'm assuming not.
I eat it. I don't.
Gotcha.
That's
Well, so
the
think
smart way
about
to do
this,
it.
right? Like, I want to get your reaction to this story. There was, do you know what a third lung is? Okay, so there's a thing called a third lung. It's generally this company Brownies make this thing called a third lung, and it's like a compressor with imagine like a hookah with tubes
Mhm.
that feeds air to you, so you don't have to carry a scuba tank. You can just go with like a little hookah tube down 30, 40 feet and like try to lobster, right? It's a very for people that aren't scuba certified, me and Josh are scuba certified. So it's a way for people to do it and still be kind of safe and not have to go through the certifications. I don't know if there's any certifications that are required for third lung use, but the same concepts still apply, right? You're breathing air at a lower, at a lower atmospheric pressure, or a higher atmospheric pressure. I'm sorry, because the deeper you go, the more the more the air will impact you, and as air is the deeper you go with air, right? Air compresses, and as you come closer to the surface, it expands. So like one of the things you learn in scuba certification is, like don't hold your breath and come up, right? You can't just inhale, because think about it. Say you take a deep breath and you hold it, and then as you rise, that air is going to expand. Same thing when you're inflating your PCs and stuff, right? So,
And why you have to stay level at a certain depth so you don't get the bends.
yeah. So there's so many different like math equations when it comes to scuba diving, that we're kind of being very general with it, but it's a dangerous activity, right? Even though it seems like, oh, I'm just breathing air from a tube. No, it's very dangerous, right? Well, there was a case in South Florida, and there was a gentleman that evidently was appointed to a government position of the boating safety coordinator in Miami-Dade County or something. He was like on some boating safety board. I guess there were some people with the Brownies third lung, and they were, a family scuba diving. Some of them were about 30 to 40 feet under. Because they were on his spot, he rolled up and turned off their air compressor while they were underwater. 30 to 40 feet
What do you mean their
underwater.
spot? His
So-
spot.
So
Yeah.
there's spots. People covet their fishing spots. Like it's like people take that shit real serious.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, remember when we went fishing? Imagine you're fishing, right? And somebody sets up right next to you,
Okay.
like down, like in your chum line, right? I mean, but like they said,
like right next to your boat.
yeah,
Say-
right next to your boat, and you're like in your head, it's like, dude, you have this entire ocean.
Yes.
You're gonna set up right next to me. It's like you're saying something.
Yeah.
As a fishing person, the person that hunts a lot, I understand like what was going on here. It's like you have this entire immense space. You're gonna set up right next to me. So the rule of thumb is, and what I practice is, if I'm there first, it's my spot. If I go somewhere and somebody beat me, I lost. Even look, for example, in hunting, if I'm going on a duck hunt, right, and my hole, I've scouted it, I have it nice and for me, right. The day of the hunt, somebody beats me to it, I lost.
Yeah.
I should have woken up earlier.
Yeah.
Don't be a grown person and don't start going at it. And I'm assuming that's what happened here.
So that is what happened. I think some people beat him to a spot. I mean, listen, these spots.
I mean, you don't own it. Like, I understand that.
But it's
I
like an
understand
ethics
the
thing.
point. Like, like if you have a parking spot or something, but like if you didn't pay for it, your name's
It's public.
not on
It's
it.
public.
Exactly. It's still a public spot.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing, right? So he did that while people were underwater. He actually just got arrested, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah,
and
he
they're
got
charging him
indicted.
with
Attempted murder.
Because that's
100%.
what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
That's literally
You
what
gotta
it is.
understand, when they turn that off, right? You're 30 feet. And you have to come 30 feet. So by the time you realize I have no air, something's going on here, you have to make the assessment. Think about it, right? What if you had just exhaled when that happened? Do you understand how crazy that is? Because imagine you're depending on that for blowing it, and somehow, right? You exhaled, and then you go down like, yo, there's nothing in here.
Well,
Then you have to come up 40 feet.
but to compound
That's
that,
insane.
it's not only having to come up 40 feet without any oxygen. When you dive, they always recommend at like 15 to 20 feet, you take like 5 to 10 minutes for your body to reacclimate, right?
How deep
But
you go, yeah.
depending on how deep you go, to then come back to the surface. So like the fact that he turned off their oxygen, that pisses me off. If that had happened to me, I would want to kill that guy. I would legitimately want to kill that guy.
I mean, he tried to kill you. So.
Here's what's crazy about it, right? Like attempted murder is a serious charge. I mean,
100%.
do you think based off of this, like 100%, like you as non-scuba diver, well, you Farah as a non-scuba diver,
I
what do you think
literally,
about
as
that
soon as
charge?
that's why I said attempted murder at the same time as you, because I knew exactly what he would be charged with, and I think it would hold up because attempt has different elements than murder does. Attempt, Mario, since you just took the bar, what are the elements for attempt?
It's the uncompleted crime. You have to take a substantial step towards the completion of the crime.
Yeah.
And if it's first degree or second degree and third degree, but I feel like here will be second degree.
Well,
Second
so
degree
it's like,
attempted murder.
So intent and substantial steps. So he intended to do it, and he took a substantial step towards it, which is he pressed the button.
And wouldn't it be multiple counts because it was three people?
I don't know
underneath?
how many
I
people
don't
were
know people,
underwater,
yeah.
but I assume.
But at the bare minimum, it's
So knowing that, right? Knowing that things can get that crazy, like, does that, obviously this is a huge like tourism thing for Florida, right? Would you, hearing things like that, would that impact your willingness to bring your family or your kids or your, would it impact your ability to bring people to South Florida and participate in mini season?
Well, even going out on the, I've been out on the water so many times. Like I worked on a boat. You're a good captain, on the vessels. Like you always make sure that everybody is taken care of, that everybody is, doing okay. And, Caden is a great first mate. Caden is Mike's son. He's been on the podcast, and you guys have the experience to know what's going on at all times, with your vessel and other vessels. Mario mentioned it prior, because even being out on the boat with you, there are times when it is there is no other boat. There's nothing else, over this vast ocean, and somehow all of these boats start to gravitate toward one specific area. I remember when we went out fishing last year, and there was one spot where the radar detected some fish, and then all of a sudden, like 3 boats just started coming around ours, and they were being really irresponsible. Trying to get super close, and we had to essentially kind of tell them off.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's what's crazy is safety is such a concern for me, right? And this is even after mini season, we went down to Key Largo and we were in a state park, John Pennekamp State Park. It's one of, I think, the largest. I think it's one of the first or one of the biggest marine coral reef state parks in the country. But we were pulling up to this dive site called Christ of the Abyss, right? And keep in mind, like we have the baby. I have Atticus. We have kids with us. We have some people. We're not being overly aggressive. And other boaters, they come, like we went and we were moving our boat to a closer mooring ball that we were on already. Like we literally had on there. We took the ball from the other people, and people pulled up and they just get so violent, so aggressive. And the tensions on the ocean get crazy, right?
Yep. And then what also a lot of people understand is why it's very important to be very careful out there, right? Anything that happens to you, one way in, one way out. There's not a hospital out there. There's not a tow truck you can call to go get. Yeah, sea to eventually get to you, but how many hours later? It's like that's why it's very important. You get a hook stuck in you there. You stab yourself with a knife by mistake cutting some bait. That's why
you get stung by fish.
You gotta be very. That's why, at least when it comes to fishing and hunting, it's like I do it. Mike knows. It's like an every weekend thing for me, and common sense is very important. And it's unfortunate that today common sense is not very common, and then people take lightly when they're on the boat. You know, I love, going fishing and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't take it as serious as they think they should, especially with the
Well,
lobster.
To transition into the last topic,
Mm-hmm.
of people that don't take the ocean as serious as they should. Let's talk about, the Odyssey and
Yeah,
some
Odysseus' journey.
Oh man.
Yeah.
no, yo. So realistically, I want to talk a lot about like bootlegs and copyright stuff. But the reason I talked about the Odyssey was, it obviously came out about a week or so ago, right?
More.
Yeah,
2 weeks
I
ago?
think a few weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so the memes, right? A lot of people I've been seeing meme pages pop up with Robert Patterson's, let's get these beggars out of here.
Somebody get these beggars out of here.
Come on, put that in there. But then there's so many, like Christopher Nolan. We originally talked about it, I think, a long time ago, because we were making fun of like Ellen Page being cast as Achilles or some shit.
Oh, Achilles, yeah.
And how good the movie was. Like, I honestly, like, I think it set up something in my mind of like, okay, I gotta see this no matter what, because it's either gonna be absolute dog shit or it's gonna be a good movie. Christopher Nolan's a great, great movie producer and
Director,
whatever,
yeah.
Well, he
fucking Josh knows
produces
about it.
as in like he makes good films.
He
I
he
think.
does.
But here's the thing, right? Like, I still haven't seen. I've seen the movie, but I haven't seen the movie the right way, right? And the Odyssey was leaked, I think, on Twitter or X, and I think it was It's such a popular movie right now that within the time frame that it was leaked, I'm not going to say where I saw the movie or how I saw the movie, but there was like millions or a billion views, and so it comes to it brings up a legal topic, right? Like, is it okay to post movies online, right, and create these bootlegs? And is it okay to what you can and cannot post, right? So like memes, there's a thing called fair use. Taking a piece of art like a movie and then making it kind of your own, where you're not like trying to sell it. You're just making fun of something. That's kind of what falls into some of these exceptions for fair use.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned this in law school. And Josh, you obviously do a lot of marketing stuff and use certain, AI tools. But what are some of the, like the big things I wanted to touch on is how people should think about using media clips and stuff, because you deal with copyright stuff when we're posting stuff. Like how do you deal with that sort of stuff?
So there are a few different questions there. The first question about piracy and bootlegs is that I don't think piracy is ever the mainline issue. People pirate because they are unhappy with things becoming very, very expensive, right? So like, take for example, people will pirate software because companies are very adamant about their DRM strategies and you not actually owning it, right? Which is why people pirate. And then people will pirate things based off of the fact that, hey, maybe this isn't that great. It's been like divisive, and they want to check out the bootleg before actually consuming the content and paying for it, in another manner. I think piracy, it's become a lot more, we grew up with it with Napster, LimeWire,
Frostwire,
right? Like all
LimeWire.
Frostwire, like you remember
Frostwire. So
Frostwire.
Frostwire. It's like when they got rid of LimeWire,
Shit, it's Frostwire.
they had Frostwire, and I remember every
Lemon
song.
Wire.
but
I remember-
there
Chris
were
Myers.
there were
Sprite wire.
there were so
Getting off on a
many
tangent here.
there were so many websites like that, when we were in high school and college. And then
Back then.
now it's making a comeback because even when I look at the streaming giants, right? So I could go on this long tangent, but the entire point of something like Netflix coming along was to say, hey, we're going to be cheaper than cable. But now with all of like these companies saying, hey, we want to create a streaming service. You have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Paramount Plus, you have HBO Max, right? You have Peacock.
It's become so irritating.
Literally
now,
just as expensive.
exactly,
Yeah.
and
It's
if not
more
more,
expensive now.
it's now
No.
more expensive than cable.
In fact, I think originally I signed up for YouTube TV, where you can add like five family members to YouTube TV, right? I think between YouTube TV, Netflix, and all the other streaming shows, I wish I would have just kept cable and they would have just kept that, because realistically, initially YouTube TV used to be cheap. It was like $40. Now I think I'd be like $90. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
That's
And
It's
Netflix
crazy.
used to be only for movies. It wasn't like current TV shows
when
and stuff
when
like that.
Netflix first came out, my first Netflix membership was $6.99 a month.
Yeah.
Now Netflix, to pay for like the top tier plan, it's $21.99 or $24.99 a month.
It's almost $30.
It's almost $30 a month. And then the last thing I'll say too,
Because now there's an ad version, so you have to pay for no ads,
You
and
have to
then
pay for
additional
no ads.
screens.
dude,
and
imagine you
Netflix
doing
has
a
ads?
Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Well, since you're the youngest one, you want to talk shit about being old. Us being old, motherfucker. So what if you weren't engaged to Giselle and you had to go on dates? How would you feel if you couldn't afford the
without ads.
without ads version of Netflix, and you're like chilling with someone, and then all of a sudden like a Cialis commercial pops
oh
up?
my gosh.
Under
I can
advice of
imagine that
counsel,
too.
I'm gonna invoke my Fifth Amendment right, just like Fauci did.
But even going to the movies, right? Like when I
So expensive.
Imagine
When I paid
but
to see
hold
the
on,
Odyssey-
Wait, I want to follow up with that. Imagine you're like, you go on a date and then some chicks like text you like, you couldn't even afford like Netflix without ads, bitch.
Oh my God. Well, weren't you talking about like, okay, like if Kaden or Adi had to take a girl out on a date nowadays, it costs so much
it's so
more.
much.
Like before, you used to be able to give like someone like $20 and be like, here, have a good time at the movie.
You know,
When-
that's a
when
good
we
point.
went to the
I'm taking
movies-
my Netflix account away from Caden.
When we would go to the
Sorry,
movies as
Kaden.
kids,
I didn't mean
mo-
for that to happen.
There goes that.
movie tickets were like $8.
Yeah.
I went to go see the Odyssey. I remember spending like $12 on like IMAX ticket, like 5 to 10 years ago. Now to go see the Odyssey in IMAX, I paid $25.50. That's how much it cost to go see the IMAX. That was just for me. Like if I take my kids to the movies, Shiana, Lila, if I'm taking Levi, I'm spending almost $100, maybe $150.
Let me tell you, and I'm going to tell you, the Odyssey specifically. I am 100% a proponent of spending the money and seeing the IMAX version of the Odyssey. But let me tell you, the bootleg is also an experience.
It's a different experience.
It's a different
Way
experience.
different.
Not
Bootleg-
Christopher Nolan's intended experience.
Bootleg movies are an experience because I vividly know someone. I may or may not know someone that has watched the bootleg version of Backrooms, and
What's back?
Backrooms is like it's like
That's-
a horror thriller.
Never
It's a
mind.
horror movie that
it's
came
like a
out.
suspense
I don't
movie,
like
right?
scary movies, so
So it's not a scary movie, but it's like a
It's
suspense
not scary.
movie, right? But the bootleg version was way scarier than the real one because we were watching it
Allegedly.
We were allegedly watching it, and I'll never forget. Like it was a group of us just watching it, allegedly, and. Dude, so someone
Just have a constant allegedly at the
yeah.
bottom.
Allegedly everywhere. So so next thing you know, we see like a dark figure like pop up, and we all scream like ah! And it just turned out to be someone walking across the screen going to the bathroom or some shit. But yo, it was the scariest shit I've ever experienced. My heart was racing. So, like realistically, it is an experience.
It is an experience. You're
I'm also-
definitely getting a different experience
So-
watching a bootleg.
So if you guys remember, back when LimeWire was around, every time you would download a song,
Damn, where do you get that, son?
so you're listening to JJ's Ultimate Mixtape, and it's like pop, 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 pop. And then you're like, is it ever gonna get to the song? You're like 30 seconds in. Ka-chow, ka-chow, ka-chow. Boom, 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 boom.
Or the
JJ's rings.
song's playing in the middle of the song, it'll start again.
Yeah.
Damn, where'd you hear that, son?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm really getting my money's worth.
Dude, how many of us ruined their family computers on LimeWire?
I'll
Yeah,
raise two hands.
I didn't get another computer after I did that.
The first, I think there's a statute of limitations. That should be good. But
Yeah, back then.
yeah, like when LimeWire was out, I remember I was like a kid, and I probably was like Josh or someone that told me about LimeWire. But all the kids, that was like, everyone knew that. Like we didn't have money. Like we couldn't go afford to buy iTunes. All of us got the goddamn U2 thing put on our goddamn iPods. We didn't even want it.
Pretty
Oh, I
sure
re- I
you guys
remember
did
that.
not have
no, but that was
LimeWire
not
back
that long
then.
ago. The
Yeah.
U2
I
album
actually
was
remember
like a
that,
few
yeah.
years ago.
Do you
The
guys?
U2 album was when the little iPad,
No. That was on
Touch.
iPhone.
The iPhones.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, iPhone 3, whatever.
Nothing.
But remember how much the iTunes things were? It was like
yeah,
a
they're
dollar
expensive.
something per song. I didn't even have a debit
what
card.
I will say, and I think that you have to look at it in the context of like the way that we consume art, the way that we consume content, is that a lot of like artists, even though they might not have been making money outright from being discovered through like LimeWire or like Napster or whatever these streaming sites were, you were then exposed to them and could become like a future revenue source, like maybe even going to their concerts
Yeah.
or supporting them like in another way, like down the line. So there, yes, like of course, piracy. It's
Piracy's illegal.
Piracy is illegal.
Don't do it.
If
Don't
you remember,
don't get
like
caught
when,
doing it.
when
Don't
you
do
were
it.
renting or like buying these tapes and stuff, they always had the FBI warning at the beginning. So anyone
Yeah,
who's
that really
pirating,
worked.
You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't break into a bank. So why watch this bootleg movie on your television?
I'll tell you what.
that's crazy.
I remember they
Those
used to
were-
sell
those
the
were the
movies
ads,
outside
yeah,
dude.
no, I
barbershops.
remember that, but I'm talking about like
The
the
movies
green
outside
screen
barbershops?
before everything.
Yeah.
It would just be a green screen with FBI
So I
warning.
remember
Yeah.
when I lived in New York, and Josh probably knows more than this. I would be doing so in New York. You got to go to the laundromat. When you live like in apartments and stuff, sometimes you didn't have like laundry machines or washing machines and dryers in your place. So I was at my grandma's, and I think she had a washer and dryer, but I was just like, it's just easier to go do it all at once rather than, so I would just go to the laundromat. So I remember there was this one time in New York, it was like, it just froze. Like everything froze. It was like 3 degrees out. I'm from Florida. I don't know shit. I'm carrying my hamper down, and I slip and bust my ass down 2 flights of stairs, bro. So I just busted my ass. I'm walking my ass with a hamper on frozen ground to the laundromat, and then this like Asian lady comes in. You want to see movies? You want to see movies? I got like Friday 3. I'm like, fuck it. I busted my ass. Might as well watch a bootleg Friday 3 tonight. So, but bootlegging was a big thing,
It was.
especially in bigger cities like Canal Street. They have the
Canal
You
Street.
guys know about Canal Street?
Never heard of it.
Street? Oh, dude, Canal Street's an
I'm
experience.
assuming there's a
Another
canal.
illegal thing you should not do, but let me tell you what, I'm not gonna, allegedly, I may or may not have gone to Canal Street and allegedly purchased some things. But there's no other experience. There's no better New York experience than going to Canal Street and finding a person that tells you to follow them for a mile to a back corner of a store and possibly allegedly sell you something that may or may not be illegal.
Sounds like an essay scenario for the bar.
It does.
100%. But bootlegging, it's a way people make money, and it is illegal. You shouldn't do it. It's crazy that, when I was younger, I was a lot more open to stuff like that. But like nowadays, like I try to not engage in that shit. So
Well, you know,
but the Odyssey pops up on X.
yeah, if it pops up, like, so what I'm trying to, what
God,
what
the
I
thing is-
definitely want to say is that we do not condone bootlegging. We do not condone pirating.
But
Just
don't
pay for the
to add-
product.
Just
and
pay
then,
for the
and then
product.
insert the meme of Robert Pattinson going,
Exactly.
somebody get these beggars out of here.
somebody get these beggars out of
But
here.
Somebody get these beggars out of here.
to add to that, it's at least back then you would have to go to these. I mean, I remember it was Frostwire and LimeWire. I'm not a computer connoisseur, right? So I remember you would have to go to LimeWire, Frostwire. I don't know, you guys know my Frostwire, whatever. And download it. Now you just go on X and the movie's there. So like
Yeah.
it's so in your face. You might not even know what you're doing. Like think about it. It's you see a movie pop up, you click on it, not knowingly what you just done.
Well, here's another
Think about
crazy thing, right? Is there's a guy, I think it was like his name was Omi and a Hellcat or some shit like that. He was a
What?
like a streamer or something like that. So what he did is he actually a lot of people do this thing, or we're doing this thing where they would pay for licenses to Netflix and all these things. And you got to think about it. When you pay for a subscription, you would think, well, I'm paying to use this. Why can't I reproduce it, right? But if you read those terms and agreements, like that's where it shows you're not allowed to do certain things. So that's another thing you got to understand is when you do certain things, when you pay for a license to go to the movie theaters, it doesn't mean you can pull out your phone and videotape something and then share it because you're then impacting that company's thing. You're also infringing on, you know, the rights that you probably have pursuant to your license to sit in that movie theater, right?
Yeah.
Or sign up for Netflix. You shouldn't go and reproduce someone else's product to try to make money off of it. But you know, when you do that, you run the risk of a lot of legal issues, right?
This is the same misconception a lot of lay people have about being in public, right? They're like, oh, well, what does it matter if I was recording? I was in a public place. Like, no, you might still be on private property, and people don't consider that. They just think because I'm outside of my house, I'm in a public space. Like public space and private property, they can still, like, it still coexists. There's still privacy laws even in those places.
Well, it all comes down to your reasonable expectation of privacy, right? So like if you
Weren't we talking about this with your...
We were.
Yeah, if
It was. Listen, not get too involved. You know, some of these contracts for these apartment complexes, like I'm not gonna say which one, but it's very familiar to me. Page 12, subsection K, right, of a contract for an apartment complex, right? They highlighted the fact that there is an expectation of privacy in a hallway where anyone could just walk into, and you know, it's unfortunate that some people actually think that there's an actual expectation of privacy somewhere where anyone can just walk in. It's not private. You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in that scenario. And the fact that these people were thinking that, you know, they can somehow take a Ring camera from an apartment because they thought they were justified and believed that somebody had an expectation of privacy in a common corridor that was public, open to the public, right, is insane. And I'm assuming that's what you were referring to.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very confusing to some people when.
But there's a difference between a recording in a hallway versus recording in a movie theater.
Correct. Yeah. Just because you're allowed to be there does not mean you can record everything there.
Yeah.
You know, although that your lawful presence does come into play when it comes to what expectation of privacy you might have during in that place. Like in a movie theater, you can record yourself like in a selfie. You can take, but the moment you flip the camera and you record what's going on in the TV, guess what you just committed? Some copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Well,
And sometimes that might just turn into federal too.
Yeah.
well, look, it's been
a great discussion, man. It's been a great discussion. You know, we covered a lot. And Mario, you know, thank you so much for making your presence known today. What we are very, very happy to have you back.
Thank
To everybody tuning in, thank you so much. Especially to all of the new audience, especially to like the new audience that I've been seeing on like some of like the recent podcast episodes. We very much appreciate it. If you guys like what you see, please subscribe. If you guys have any suggestions about anything that you'd like for us to discuss, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, peace.